Welcome to the Album Nerds Podcast with your hosts, Don and Dude.
Put your butts in your chairs and keep looking up. Is that right?
I don't know.
This is the Album Nerds Podcast. I'm Dude. I got Don with me. Don, you ready to explore 1991 with the magnanimous Casey Kasem?
Yes. About to, I guess, relive my early high school times.
Beautiful.
It was an awkward period.
Yeah, you've changed so much. I wonder which one of us would have beat the other one up had we been in high school together.
I don't know. I never fought anyone.
Yeah, I did, but it was like those ones where you push each other and then bounce around a little bit, and then you're just waiting for it to be broken up before there's any real carnage. So this is the Album Nerds Podcast. We love albums, the album format. We love talking about them. We've got a great show for you this time around. We're going to be visiting 1991, thanks to Casey's Top 40. So Don and I will each be picking an album by an artist that was featured in the top 10 in the week of November 16th, 1991. Don's going to ask us a deep question. Then we'll have some shout outs to some other albums and album related items that we're digging. Then we will spin that wheel of musical discovery to find out what Casey's classic countdown will be catching next time. But this week, it's all about 1991.
1991. That's what I'm talking about.
For our third installment of Classic Casey Countdowns, we travel back to November 16th, 1991, when pop, rock, and R&B shared the airwaves in perfect balance, continuing our tribute to Casey Kasem and his lasting impact on American Top 40, or Casey's Top 40. This episode celebrates the songs and albums that defined that week's chart. Casey's warm storytelling and deep connection with listeners turned radio into a shared national experience, and we're honoring that spirit by revisiting the albums behind the top 10 hits from this chart. Each of us will spotlight a record tied to a major hit from that week, reflecting on how Casey's Top 40 captured the changing sound of the early 90s and the artists who shaped its countdown.
You know, it's funny. There's a point that comes, at least for me, where I stopped listening to the top 40 because it stopped representing things that in the top 10 were not typically things I was listening to anymore, by probably around this time. So this was a good week where there's a little bit of everything for everyone. So on the top 10 singles for that week, we're covering number 10 in one of our picks, but number 9 was Romantic by Karen White from the album Ritual of Love.
I didn't remember that one, but I do now.
Is that the Turn the Lights Down? It's time to get romantic?
I think so,
okay.
Yeah.
I remember the song, but
yeah.
That's What Love Is For by Amy Grant from Heart in Motion. This kid named Ryan has Locker next to me, and for whatever reason, he loves to get in my face and just go, baby, baby. Another song from that album.
Yes.
At number 7 was OPP, Naughty by Nature, self-titled album. A lot of arguments at the time about what OPP stood for. Mm-hmm. Other People's Problems is what I went with. There were some other more dirty ones that I won't get into.
Pizza.
Oh, really? Was that the Ninja Turtles having that discussion? Number 6 was Set the Night to Music by Roberta Flack and Maxie Priest on Roberta's album called Set the Night to Music. It's a nice adult contemporary type thing.
And at number 5 was Set Adrift on Memory Bliss by PM Dawn, who was on the album Of the Heart, Of the Soul, and Of the Cross.
The Paisley R&B movement. It didn't quite take off.
Yeah, I remember they actually had the guy from Spandau Ballet in the video.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I like that song, but the album just didn't match. I don't know.
Yeah, same.
At least for me.
And then at number 4 was It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday by Boyz II Men from the album Coolie High Harmony.
I considered that album.
Me too. And for my money, it doesn't get any better than when he sings When a Man Loves a Woman. Sorry, that's Michael Bolton.
Right.
That was from the Time, Love, and Tenderness album. And,
little Office Space reference there too. Don, thank you.
That guy was huge.
I know. I had the cassette because I was in one of those clubs and they sent it to me and I didn't return it in time. So I got to admit, I did listen to it.
And then at number 2, I barely remember this one. Can't Stop This Thing We Started by Bryan Adams, which was on Waking Up the Neighbors.
So that pretty much covers it, because we'll be doing the number one song is going to be making it on Don's pick here. So the picks are in. Our antennas are extended. Our radios are tuned. Those aren't euphemisms. It's time to jump in to Casey's Top 40, November 1991.
You choose me?
So, the number one song in the nation on November 16th, 1991, was a song by Prince and his new band, The New Power Generation. The song came from the album Diamonds and Pearls. Prince was born Prince Rogers Nelson in 1958 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Of course, very famous multi-instrumentalist, plays guitar, piano, bass, keyboards, and of course, a renowned songwriter at that point. Lots of hits in the 1980s. This was kind of I wouldn't say a comeback.
A rebirth, perhaps.
Yeah. The soundtrack to that film, Graffiti Bridge, was the last thing he did. That was, did not do well with critics.
Yeah, I mean, it was getting a little too ambitious, I think.
Yeah, so this was, perhaps a movement towards the current sounds of hip hop and new jack swing. So here's that number one song from the album. It's called Cream.
I don't know why, but at the time, there was something about that little slide guitar thing that made me think of Bonnie Raitt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Give him something to talk about.
Yeah.
It has a similar sonic palette. I mean, they're very different songs, but I just ruin it for you, break the glass. You can never go back.
So Cream, like all the tracks on the album, is credited to Prince and the New Power Generation. He said, and I don't know if he was just joking, but he claims that he wrote it while looking in the mirror. It was meant to be sort of self-motivational.
What's the Shaboogie Bop or whatever it is? What's that referencing?
I don't know. So, yeah, it blends confidence, sexuality, and encouragement to rise above competition. So that's the idea of, Cream rising to the top. Also seems to be, kind of sexual innuendo, like much of Prince's work.
Yeah, I mean, basically anything that guy said, if he was like, I read the newspaper, it's like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hubba hubba.
So this was I think a very accessible song. I hadn't seen, Prince on MTV, the past couple of years, and, hadn't heard him on the radio a lot. And it was like he was back. Looking back, I'm kind of surprised it reached number one. I guess it stayed there for 2 weeks. I mean, it's not a Prince song I even really think of.
Yeah, it's not particularly stylized.
Yeah.
I think maybe that was the goal, right? To re-enter the fray with songs people could actually connect to and not be so heady or tied to a movie soundtrack or a story or whatever. It's just something someone can hear and be like, oh, that's kind of sexy.
Yeah, and I think in some ways it was still kind of more interesting than, Belle Biv DeVoe or...
I don't know about that.
I mean, musically more interesting, I think. But I don't know. Anyway.
Wow.
Sorry.
I mean, I do really like and it's silly, but the "You're so cool" line. Cool. Yeah. And I believe that's Rosie Gaines on the backing vocals. It kind of adds some texture to saying "You're so cool." It helps having that additional vibe there. But, it is a minimalist funk groove, but the rhythm guitar and the whispery, seductive vocals, like Prince is doing that thing where he's holding back, and maybe it has something to do with Cream and all the, innuendo, but the holding back, I think, is what makes it sexy. Yeah. So good track.
There's a bit of a glam vibe in there too. I've seen people compare it to T-Rex's Bang a Gong.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's go back a few tracks to the opening cut. This is Thunder.
So much piano.
Yeah. Supposedly Thunder was recorded entirely by Prince, so he plays all the instruments on this track. Has spiritual and religious themes, a struggle for his soul. Of course, there's the line, promise to see Jesus in the morning light.
Yeah, one of those, have a rough night, and it's like, if I make it through, if you get me through this night, I will go to church. And
yeah, which was kind of the essence of like gospel music, I think. Some interpret the lyrics, and this seems like a bit of a stretch, they interpret it as the night he decided to shelve the Black Album.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know much about that backstory, but possibly after a bad trip or something, he. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so much legend around Prince now, especially with him not around to set the record straight.
Yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, there's that sitar loop in there is kind of cool. I don't know if that's real or if that's from a synthesizer. But yeah, I think it's a good opening to the album. Yeah,
I mean it surges with religious imagery, the layered vocals, and that gospel funk blend. But because it comes in so stacked, like the harmonies and all the sounds, it's clear that this is more of a 1991 modern production value type album. I think that's kind of what trying to set the tone, that I think to some degree that this is coming in like Prince is coming in like thunder, and check out this new developed sound.
Yeah.
So
he's eating lightning and crapping thunder.
There you go.
All right. Well, dude, was there a track you wanted to highlight?
There's so many songs on this album, and I wasn't super familiar with it. Like, I love Prince, but I tend to stick to the handful of 80s albums for the most part. So I knew the songs, many of the songs, but there were some deeper cuts I wanted to talk about, and maybe we can bring up later in the show briefly, but felt like we had to cover the title track, Diamonds and Pearls. The album's title track and centerpiece, I'd say. Mm-hmm. I mean, having Rosie on there, Rosie Gaines, it does sound more like a duet. Mm-hmm. I like how he's kind of willing on this record to give up the reins a bit, it adds some textures, but it's a classic Prince ballad, romantic, tender, grand. That lush piano arrangement, but then the vocal interplay kind of echoes the vintage Motown duets, mm-hmm. but updated with this 90s sheen. What were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I've always liked the song for some reason, even though it was not, it wasn't a sound that I, particularly gravitated towards, back in the day.
How much through the week were you spelling diamonds out?
Oh, all the time.
D to the I to the A to the M.
Yeah. But now listening to it, it's a pretty complex song. There's a lot of changes in it. They're changing time signatures like 4 different times, key changes. So even, these simpler pop ballads are, pretty impressive works.
Yeah, they're intricately constructed. But I like little touches like, give you diamonds and pearls, whether you're a boy or a girl, like kind of that this thing goes both ways. It doesn't have to be, mm-hmm. They can both shower each other with treasures. It doesn't,
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I took it anyway.
There's a fun moment in there. Like all of a sudden there's like horns. It sounds like a kind of like a royal thing or like
treating you like my queen, that kind of thing. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Some have pointed to some similarity to the song International Lover, which was on the album 1999 from 1982. But I guess the lyric pattern is similar. I'll have to go back and check that out. All right. So we arrive at the final cut of the album. It's called Live for Love, parentheses, last words from the cockpit.
Is that a euphemism? Or?
I hope not.
Probably the most cinematic one on the. Yeah. I mean, not cinematic in terms of like drama filled, but cinematic in terms of that sounds like it could be from like the Batman soundtrack.
Yeah, it did remind me of like that bat dance stuff that he did. So I didn't really get this listening to the song, but so supposedly it's sung from the perspective of a fighter pilot on a bombing mission.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually supposed to be kind of about the moral dilemmas of war. So you can't live for love and also kill.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, I like this as a closing track. You know, it's a bit longer. It's I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean the shredding guitar by Levi, is it Caesar? Is cool. The one thing that just doesn't land for me, and no offense to Tony M, but the rap stuff on any of these songs, it just feels to me shoehorned in because it's part of the New Jack Swing era thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because of the rap style of that time was like
sounds like the CNC Music Factory guy.
Yeah, and I don't know. Though I could do without them. I probably wouldn't notice if they weren't there. I wouldn't miss them. But I mean, it's not like offensive or anything. It just feels out of place, and that continued on into even the next album after this. But
yeah, it's interesting that he didn't choose to pick like an established rapper or something to do that.
They were a band. I think that was part of his creative experience. I mean, even with the Revolution before that, I mean, he had bands that he stuck with for years because I think that collaborative spirit was a large piece of his creative process.
All right. Well, it's time to rewind and reflect on Diamonds and Pearls. I'll start with my clickbait headline. New Jack, same crown. Prince brings power and fresh energy. So, this does kind of feel like a revival of sorts. He's got this new band that seems to be kind of freewheeling. Seems like he's having a lot of fun while embracing kind of this more modern early 90s sound. It's a long album. I think it was about 65 minutes or so, but there's enough variety in it. You've got some the hip hop and R&B stuff, some funk, some ballads. Yeah, I think it's a solid overall album.
Like you said, it's a cornucopia of sounds, so it doesn't weigh on you. It's not like you don't get fatigued like with a lot of albums from this era. So my overall vibe summed up in a super clever clickbait headline. Diamonds and Pearls, Prince's Guide to Flirtation, Funk, and Fashionable Excess in the early 90s. It's a lush, confident mix of funk, soul, and pop. That's part of what comes with Prince. He kind of sells it to you because of who he is and what he had established before. But he embraces collaboration and polish, signaling a more communal sound. And like I said earlier, it may have leaned a little too much on the rap for rap's sake. But otherwise, I mean, like you said, it's an interesting set of songs for sure. Killer to filler.
I think there's a lot of strong tracks on there. I mean, we covered a few of them. I like the Money Don't Matter. I mean, that was another single. It's another one I saw on MTV. It just has a real smooth sound.
Money don't matter tonight.
When I get that in my head, it stays with me.
I love that one.
Yeah. Get Off,
Yeah. I mean, it's so uncomfortable. 22 positions in a one night stand. I love it.
Yeah.
When it's out of context, all of a sudden that just sticks out like a sore thumb. Strolling, I enjoyed.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Smooth and jazzy and laid back guitar.
Definitely one of my favorite moments on the album.
Insatiable is super sexy.
Yeah, a little uncomfortable there, some of it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's definitely could work in the boudoir. Set the night to music, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
A couple that bugged me a little. Jughead. Tony M is in full rap glory on that one.
Yeah, and there's even like a thing at the end where he's talking about like not signing a contract with some. It's almost like a little skit,
And this is not Tony's fault. This is just the era, But it doesn't land so good this many years later, in my opinion.
And I keep thinking of the Archie character.
Walk Don't Walk.
Yeah, that's kind of gospel-y.
Yeah. It's just not the best. No. It doesn't mean that it stinks. I mean, none of these. Jughead doesn't stink. It's just all the songs are a little out of place, but that's kind of the beauty of it. So these are just nitpicks. And Push. They say Push a lot.
Oh, yes.
Push.
Yes, they do. Yeah. About 6 minutes.
Yep.
All right. So the production, it was, produced by Prince. Michael Koppelman was the main recording and mixing engineer. So it sounds like this came out of a lot of jam sessions. Right. So they would just record, 15 to 17 minutes at a time and just start paring these tracks down. Even though it sounds like a very polished album, I mean, there actually isn't a ton of overdubbing.
No.
Although I guess they did end up recording a lot of the instruments, separately after the fact. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a great sounding album. Maybe could use a little more low end, but that was,
the time.
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
Yep.
The blend of old school musicianship with the cutting edge studio tech works pretty well most of the time. I think Prince used Akai samplers and Roland synths to kind of build some of those dense layers. Some say pioneering an early form of digital funk, like figuring out how to make funk music with modern technology of the time. Mm-hmm. And, incorporating the hip hop elements, sampled percussion loops, and it reflects early 90s trends, and that's okay. Prince was playing with the new sounds, and for the most part, successfully.
Yeah. Replay value? Is this one you're going to listen to again?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Again, these albums at this era are so long because of the era that I think you're getting samplings of stuff that probably would have been demos or B-sides back in the 80s when making 40-minute, 35-minute, 42-minute albums. So you do get a broader feel for what Prince and the NPG were doing at this time. So for sure, I need to dig in a little more.
Yeah, and like you said before, he does a good job of mixing up the sonic palette or something that it doesn't get boring despite its length. And the legacy, well, I mean, I think to some extent, I mean, Prince was already a legend, but I think it just kind of reasserted him as a pop superstar. Yeah, I mean, I think the R&B of the mid and later 90s probably borrowed from this to some extent. Yeah,
I mean, it was a return to commercial form, but sort of reintroduced Prince to a new generation. But at the same time, I feel like re-engaged with his fans from the 80s who were probably with aging as he was probably in their 30s at this point. And this is a little more, I wouldn't say it's adult contemporary, but there's a little bit of that vibe to it. It's very accessible.
Mm-hmm. Diamonds and Pearls stands as a crossroads moment in Prince's career, showing how a legendary artist could reinvent his sound, collaborate with fresh talent, and still set trends in a fast-changing musical landscape. Check it out.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
And now it's time again for Deep Questions by Don. So we've been talking about what's been on the top of our life charts in these various years. So in 1991, what topped your chart?
I would say, obviously Nirvana's Nevermind and the oncoming, grunge avalanche, which changed my life a ton and my taste. But just like Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Huge. I went to the theater to see that. I don't think I had seen the original one at that time, but the way that they took this villain and made him the good guy in Terminator 2, and by then Arnold Schwarzenegger was established as a megastar, and this kind of carried that on. You could just go see a Schwarzenegger movie and know you're going to like it. I miss that confidence.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, 1991 is another year I remember pretty well because it's another time my family moved and I started a new school. I had actually gone without MTV for a year or something. I think my parents fell on hard times.
Man.
And so, MTV was one of the first things, cable was one of the first things to go, but
they might as well have hit you with wire hangers.
Yeah. Well, we got it back. And so I think, when we moved into the new house, I just kind of immersed myself in MTV. But actually, one thing I remember from 1991 was at Christmas getting one of those karaoke machines.
Oh, God.
The cassette ones.
Yeah, my little sister got one.
Yeah, so it was fun on Christmas Day, getting my parents to sing and stuff. And then after that, it just became a tool for me to make mixtapes for people and, kind of pretend to be a DJ.
Yeah, that was great for that.
In fact, I think I was kind of emulating Casey Kasem.
Yeah, of course.
I think it was called A Journey Through Don's Music Collection or something like that.
It's a little wordy.
Yeah. And I got made fun of pretty bad. Somehow I made a tape for a friend and it ended up getting circulated. Around. Yeah.
Can you dig that tape up? I'd love to hear it.
I should look for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you remember from 1991? What was on the top of your charts? Let us know on our social media like Instagram and Facebook at Album Nerds.
All right, so coming in at number 10.
Number 10!
On the Casey's Top 40 Countdown in the week of November 16th, 1991, was Guns N' Roses with their song Don't Cry from the album Use Your Illusion 1. Guns N' Roses were, of course, born out of the wild chaos of Los Angeles rock scene in 1985, a mix of two bands, Hollywood Rose and LA Guns. Classic lineup, Axl Rose, Slash, Izzy Stradlin, Duff McKagan, Steven Adler. That kind of started to fall apart around the time of Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Their debut, Appetite for Destruction, turned them into global superstars. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 were the works of superstars, the ambitions of rock superstars, especially Axl Rose. At their peak, Guns N' Roses embodied rock's thrilling and dangerous side, excess, emotion, rebellion, and living their music to the edge. Why don't we get into the third studio album, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, both released September 17th, 1991, which is very confusing. Mm-hmm. But why don't we jump into the number 10 hit, Don't Cry. So Don't Cry, I don't know which, because there were two albums, I'm not sure, like success, like if this is the second single, first single. I think it was the first single maybe from Use Your Illusion 1, but there was already a single from Use Your Illusion 2 out there. So on the album charts, Use Your Illusion 2 was number 1 and Use Your Illusion 1 was number 2. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I remember being at the mall and looking at the wall of top hits and being very confused, like which one would I get? Like I thought about getting one, but I didn't understand why there were two 75-minute albums. But this song in particular, we'll just talk about it a little bit. Power ballad written by Axl Rose and Izzy Stradlin. Two versions of it exist. This one with the original lyrics is on Use Your Illusion 1, and then there was alternate lyrics, a darker, more retrospective one on Use Your Illusion 2. A little weird. I guess this is one of the first songs Axl and Izzy wrote together, so before this album cycle started. But it's moody, emotional, melancholy a little bit. Harmonies from Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon, who I guess Axl Rose came from the same town as Shannon Hoon, and Shannon Hoon's older sister was friends with Axl, so that's how that connection was made. He was Shannon Hoon was featured on another track on the album as well. But what do you think of Don't Cry and then this whole Use Your Illusion album cycle?
I liked Don't Cry a lot. I mean, it had a very cinematic video.
On the rooftop of a building or something, helicopters and stuff. Yep.
So yeah, I knew this song well, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, probably the moodiness of it, and it was not typical of what you would expect from Guns N' Roses. Although of course they did have some ballads before. But yeah, I think this is an excellent song. The alternate version is on Use Your Illusion 2. But that one always messes me up because I know this version so well. Yeah. When I hear it the other way, it doesn't feel right. It's interesting that so many of these songs seem to come from like the Appetite era or the pre-Appetite era. Yeah.
Well, they were kicking around for a long time and had to pick just songs for Appetite for Destruction. But then I once this project became so huge and they decided to record 2 albums, I think you work on everything you've got probably.
Yeah, I mean, they had a lot of songs. I mean, it does seem like maybe some of their best hooks and best melodies maybe ended up on Appetite.
It's really, we can't go too far down this road. This would take up 2 hours, but the rawness of Appetite is missing a little bit, where I feel like these are more constructed versions, ambitious, big sounds, especially some of the newer songs, strings and choirs and just like a lot. And there are the gritty tunes that harken back to a few years before with the Appetite era, but they're kind of floating in a sea of these big, ambitious prog rock, prog metal songs as well. One of those is the opener to the album that kind of captures that more raw, aggressive sound. And I love that they start off with this. It's called Right Next Door to Hell. That's the sweet spot for me. High octane, confrontational. I mean, a lot of the harder rock songs are like, fuck you, you bitch, that kind of stuff. But I guess this one was based on a real dispute with a neighbor, channeling personal vengeance, frustration, anger, the feeling of being trapped under scrutiny and media pressure. It's direct, punk-infused hard rock. Slash provides those nice riffs there. It just sounds good. I think it's a nice aggressive choice to open the record.
Yeah, I think it's a strong track as well. A lot of the heavier songs are kind of in this punk rock style, I think, or sort of this punk metal style.
Lots of fast delivery.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of frenetic vocals. But yeah, I like the kind of the bouncy bass line. As I've listened to Guns N' Roses more, I appreciate Duff's playing much more than I guess I didn't really pay attention to it in the past.
Right. Yeah, and I guess to some degree too with the new drummer Matt Sorum from the Cult, that changes the shapes of things, and adding Dizzy on
he's the keyboard player,
keyboard and piano, not just as a touring person, but like actually on a lot of the compositions, does sort of change the vibes.
Those opening lines almost sounded like Korn or something, like that opening, like deep bass on there. Like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. But the changing musical landscape too, which I'm not sure how well they were able to keep up with. There were not any grunge or alt rock ambitions here. This is just more of a prog metal ambitions, I think. But
it's sort of ironic that they do have some more punkier sounding tracks.
Yeah.
Which would align with the Nirvanas and Pearl Jams.
But I do not think it was like in any way influenced by it. I think they were kind of moving in the same path. Like we've talked about before, I believe that Appetite for Destruction and the metal dudes without hairspray and makeup was the first step toward things like Nirvana breaking through. So anyway, back to the album. Don, what do you got? What do you want to talk about here on the record?
Well, I decided to go with, I guess, sort of the biggest, gaudiest, most progressive, proggiest song on the album, November Rain. All right, so November Rain was written by Axl Rose. It supposedly dates back to 1983. Started as a piano ballad, ends up being about 9 minutes long. Kind of influenced supposedly by Elton John's Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding, which had not occurred to me, but that makes sense. That was from the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album. Supposedly inspired by Del James' short story Without You, about a rock star dealing with doomed love and loss. This is another one that I appreciated because I liked the idea that, they were stepping beyond, what they normally do and, adding orchestra and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of this was going on at the time. You had like that Queensryche song, Silent Lucidity, was so big that had the orchestration. I remember like all of a sudden Aerosmith did Dream On with an orchestra.
Yeah. Well, and then, Don't Want to Miss a Thing a few years later certainly lead into that.
Yeah. I even if you ignore the orchestration and stuff, there's like 3 or 4 Slash solos on it that are really cool.
I remember the one in the video where Slash is standing like in the desert.
Oh yeah.
And one of the guitar solos. But yeah, I mean, those epic movie-like videos, just it's just sort of bloat.
Yes.
Feel like they lost their grit.
Yeah.
And maybe, you make it, right? And then you get given an unlimited budget to make your dream record. You don't give a shit about grit. Know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, obviously videos are, so important for, some success in music, but I do sometimes think it detracts, like maybe if we didn't have these glossy videos, we would think differently about these albums.
Well, because, they sort of they give us a narrative.
Yeah.
And then those images become part of the song when you hear it, even if you don't mean for them to.
Yeah. And sometimes I think there's a downside to being too familiar with these artists. Like when all of a sudden I knew what Metallica looked like, suddenly they didn't seem so sinister to me. And I think it's also kind of true of Guns N' Roses.
Why? Because James Hetfield looked like the Cowardly Lion a little bit in 1991.
Yeah, they just seemed like normal guys, not these scary demons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an ambitious song, and I mean, I've always enjoyed it. If it comes on, I'll stay through the end.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the end and ambition, why don't we talk a little bit about the closing track on this super long record where there's no way we could cover all the songs. Same as Diamonds and Pearls. It's rough. This one is called Coma. This is like 4 songs. I don't know if they took 4 songs and plugged them together, or it's progressive hard rock, I guess. No traditional chorus, dramatic shifts, widely interpreted, reflecting a near-death experience, overdose, coma, emotional void. Slash described the music as heavy guitar riff mantra born out of delirium. I don't even know how to categorize it. It's like over 10 minutes long.
Yeah, it's progressive, but I think it's mostly your traditional instruments, so it's just a rock song, not like a prog song.
It's progressive in that it's got these shifts of styles throughout, where Axl more than usual changes what Axl voice he's using.
Matt Sorum, I mean, he's quite a drummer, I mean, I think he's obviously more skilled, I think, than Adler.
Technically,
yes.
But Adler had that, I think some of that raw grit, that messiness was part of what made the early album what it was.
But Sorum really, so it's more precise, but it's still very loud and intense or something, or it's hard. Yeah. But he does a part there where I think it's supposed to sound like a heartbeat.
Yes, at the beginning in particular, and throughout the song.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the guitar was so complex or whatever. Like Izzy Stradlin used to have like a chord chart on stage to be able to play it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely stands out as an example of how a rock band can craft like an epic song that's emotionally and musically layered, but it's not made to be radio friendly in length or structure. There was clearly no intention of this being a hit song. It was pure creation, pure chaos to close out the first half of a 3-hour journey if you're listening to both records. I think it's an effective closer, but it kind of brings you back a little bit, because I think fatigue gets you a little lost in those last few tracks before Coma comes in.
I agree.
So why don't we rewind and reflect on Use Your Illusion 1. To kick this off, I'm going to start with my clickbait headline. Raw hard rock meets prog-inspired ambition. Guns N' Roses go from headbanger to maestro on the same record. The sound of the band exploding at the seams to some degree and somehow holding it all together. Well, I guess there's a lot of drama going on during this period. Who's in control of the artistic vision, all of that stuff. It's not just a follow-up to Appetite for Destruction. It's Guns N' Roses shooting for the moon. It sprawls across styles with punk aggression, orchestral rock, blues, a lot of bluesy stuff going on in there unexpectedly. Piano-driven drama, acoustic ballads, captures brilliance and madness all at the same time. It's chaotic and indulgent, but it's ambitiousness that comes in big time. What are you thinking here?
Well, I'll give you my clickbait headline. Double Guns album, please. Or maybe not. Do you remember that Burger King promotion where it was double cheeseburger, please?
Please.
Yeah. It's a lot of Guns N' Roses, and we're just doing one part of it, so it's very long. I mean, there's nothing about it I dislike per se. It's just it's a lot. There was a lot of time between Appetite and this, right? So Appetite was released in 87.
Yeah, there was Lies, which was a couple of new acoustic things with some old stuff.
Yeah. So, like, I wonder if maybe it just sat in the oven a little too long, or they just worked a little too long on it. Maybe if they had followed up with a true album 2 years later, it's not to the point of what happened to Chinese Democracy, but it may have being in the oven too long. I think is a perfect way of putting it. Killer to Filler is tough here. I mean, some tracks that I really liked that we didn't get a chance to talk about. Back Off Bitch. Yeah. Typical mean name calling. Axl. Love it. Just for the sake of it. Perfect Crime. Really love the guitar riffs in that one. You Ain't the First. That drunken acoustic song. Izzy Stradlin playing on. Shannon Hoon featured on that one as well. Yeah. Seems like some of the strongest tracks are the ones that involve Izzy Stradlin.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And he left shortly after these were completed. Just couldn't take it anymore. I don't think he liked the drummer either. The drummer change. Any killers for you that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
Dust and Bones I like, which I think is another Izzy Stradlin.
Y'all love that one.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Live and Let Die. I mean, I don't love having covers in there, but it's very true to the original. I think it just makes it even more aggressive. I mean, it was aggressive for a McCartney track back then, and, they just push it a little further. It works well.
Just takes it to an appropriate place.
And I like the sort of back-to-back Garden, or The Garden, and then The Garden of Eden. I like those two songs in a row.
Me too. Bad Apples, Dead Horse, and Don't Damn Me. It's not that they're bad. It's just it's such a long album that I felt a little fatigue at that point in the listening experience. Yeah. And they weren't enough to quite fully wake me up, but they're not bad. I mean, none of these songs are bad. It's just... they could have had 3 or 4 albums probably out of this, but
yeah, and you're right. Like Coma kind of brings you back after maybe falling asleep.
Well, Coma. There you go. It was all planned. It was genius. All right, production wise, it balances brilliance and bloat pretty well. But ultimately, the clean layered sound achieves the goal of creating rock operas, lending the album this chaotic grandeur despite a few overcooked tracks.
Yeah, it's like a metal album done well, where it's not muddy. You're hearing it's hard, but it's you're hearing every instrument. So I mean, it's perfect.
Replayability. I mean, I have both. I have all the albums on CD, so definitely yes. Not for a while though. I think I've tired myself out.
I feel like I haven't listened to it enough, like this week, because, I try to listen as many times as possible before we record the show. And I definitely feel like I need to experience it more, because I do feel like it could become a favorite of mine, but it takes so darn long. And I'm not even ready to tackle Use Your Illusion 2 yet.
Yeah, I did listen to both, and it's exhausting. So the album, legacy-wise, I guess it captures LA's grandiosity and grit all at the same time, and did cement GNR as the last great arena heavy metal rock band before grunge took over. And these songs, I'm sure, were huge, and on nights when GNR were playing live and things were clicking and Axl wasn't throwing a tantrum, I bet they were amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of reaffirms the double album thing. Pretty much the same year, or just the next year, you had Bruce Springsteen releasing 2 albums simultaneously.
It's a lot of songs to process.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Taylor Swift's stuff. Like last year, I mean, she came out with like 50 songs in 2 weeks.
Indeed. Glad we got Taylor Swift in there. Don's becoming a Swiftie. It's happening before our eyes. All right, so Use Your Illusion 1 is a sprawling, chaotic, electrifying snapshot of a band at the height of their power and indulgence, a rock opera of excess, ambition, and some raw emotion that still commands attention all this time later. So please do check it out.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
So on your way back from 1991, did you find time to dig anything else?
It was tough. These were long-ass records, man.
Yeah. You got anything in your... Did you ever have overalls? Like you had the little pocket in the front you could put a CD in?
Well, my grandpa was from a farm family, so he routinely wore overalls. So I got my overalls at the farm store that he got his at.
Oh, so you had like legit overalls?
I had legit overalls, yeah. Key was the brand.
I had Caldor, I think.
Yeah. Well, I kept my straps. I didn't do the one strap off thing. I wasn't living that life. Anyway, it was tough, but there is a artist that I'm a big fan of, Colter Wall. Actually, by the time this episode is out, the album should be out. It's called Memories and Empties. Colter Wall's a Saskatchewan-born singer-songwriter known for his deep baritone voice, rugged Western country storytelling, and traditional roots sound. This fifth studio album, recorded live at Nashville's historic RCA Studio A. Stapleton did some work there as well. This one is more steeped in 1970s era country honky-tonk and blue-collar narratives, pedal steel and fiddle, organ, a little more sounds here. It's a little less stripped down sounding, at least the songs I've heard so far. Let's listen to a little bit of 1800 Miles.
It's short on flashing lights and rhinestone clothes.
So up in Saskatchewan, I guess that's probably 1,800 miles to Nashville from there. Oh. So that's my guess.
I'm surprised it's not kilometers.
Well, maybe miles fit better than saying kilometers in a song.
He must be quite prolific because I feel like you keep, bringing new albums to the table.
5 records in the last, and an EP in the last 10 or so years, okay. I'd say. So yeah, pretty much, but it's slowed down a little bit as he's gotten more successful. So then back to 91 from my CD collection, and this one I've had for a long time. Playing Guns N' Roses always makes me think of Skid Row because they opened for them. Sebastian Bach and Axl Rose are friends. Skid Row, of course, American hard rock heavy metal band from New Jersey, known for Sebastian Bach's high-octane vocals and the gritty riffs. This second album, Slave to the Grind, is heavier than the first one, more aggressive, less glammy, and debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, actually. Wow. Let's listen to a little bit of Monkey Business. Yeah, it's one of my favorites of this era. It captures a little bit of that Guns N' Roses vibe, but there's something sillier about it. And, using like Monkey Business, using terms like that. But there's a song on there, Get the Fuck Out. I always enjoyed it. So.
Sebastian Bach seems a little less self-important than Axl Rose.
I'm not so sure. Maybe. But, he's not in the band anymore. They kicked him out in 1995 or so, I think. Oh. So he's a solo artist, and they've had various singers over the years, including, I think they had Lizzie Hale doing vocals on one of their more recent tours.
Who's that again?
From Hailstorm.
Who's that again? Sorry.
Good God, you're old. What about you, dude? What you been digging on?
She comes up a bunch on this show. Seems to be a show favorite. Mavis Staples.
Andy used to bring her up all the time.
Yep.
And you've taken on the torch.
Yeah, she's just something about her that I just enjoy. So Mavis Staples has a new album, if you can believe it. It's her 14th solo album. She's basically been in the music business for 70 years.
Wow.
The new album's called Sad and Beautiful World. Of course, she is the sole surviving member of the Staple Singers. Here's a track called Human Mind.
God bless the human mind.
Now I feel like a real tool playing Skid Row, and now we're listening to thoughts on the world and its beauty and problems.
Yeah, I think that song is one of the lone originals on there. She's mostly exploring kind of the American songbook, but you do have guest collaborations with like Bonnie Raitt, Jeff Tweedy, Buddy Guy, and Derek Trucks. So looking forward to spending more time with this one. And another group that's been around a long time, not quite as long, the Mountain Goats. They were formed in 1991 by singer-songwriter John Darnielle. They have a new album called Through This Fire, Across from Peter Balkan. Okay. It's a concept album about a shipwrecked fishing boat. And so only 3 of them survive. And this captain, Peter Balkan, is having visions. So interesting. But here's a song called Fishing Boat.
Some who keep their secrets like treasure. Some who tend to cling to the coast.
I gotta be honest, I did start listening to this because it was on lists of new releases, and I was like, but now that there's a little more context, it sounds like something worth spending the time to figure it out.
Yeah, I know very little about these guys. They have 23 albums, but I guess it's sort of an indie folk vibe. Yeah, through a few listens, I've been digging it. And what are you digging? Let us know. Join us on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at Album Nerds.
It will be a discovery of extraordinary value.
Well, it's about time in the show when I'm reminded of the words of Donny Osmond. That's the first time that's ever happened in my life. No offense, Donny. You're an American treasure.
He's a soldier of love.
He is. So he spoke of Casey Kasem in this quote. And he said, Casey Kasem was the gold standard. He was kind, generous, and his legacy will live on in the world of radio. He was truly one of a kind.
Yes.
With that in mind, let's bring out the wheel of musical discovery to see where Casey's classic countdowns will take us next time.
Next time, we're spinning back to classic Casey countdowns. You'll be taking the biggest hits from this week in 1978 and diving into 2 albums they came from, exploring the sounds, stories, and artists that defined the peak of the disco era boom.
1978.
Ooh. Wow, 1978. Those are dangerous waters. There could be some disco type stuff going on in that period.
So this would be around the time that you'd be making Thanksgiving dinner or something with the radio on. These are the songs.
Yeah. Looks like it'll be November 25th of 78 is the show. That'll be fun.
Well, what's your favorite album from 1978? What else are you listening to? Email us at podcast@albumnerds.com or follow us on Instagram and other social media at Album Nerds. And you can visit albumnerds.com to listen to all 314 episodes. And the best way to support the show is to share it. Please subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app.
Thank you once again for joining us here on the Album Nerds podcast. We'll catch you next time, 78 style.
Wouldn't it matter to you when you got a podcast to do? You gotta do it well. You gotta give it
Oh, you were about to give us all hell. Why didn't you bring it? There you go. Beautiful as usual, Don. Catch you next time when you can find a way to ruin a song from 1978.